Good day, folks. This is activity W2P2 for my class mechanism design. And you were asked to generate this assembly. Let's not worry about dimensions, but I want to create essentially a slider crank mechanism, very similar to what I did in class, but ignore any dimensions. Okay. What we're going to do is to create several parts. One of them is, for example, this disc that plays the role of a shaft. And then there is AB, which plays the role of a connecting rod. And there's this slider here, which is essentially your piston. So far, we have three parts. And then there is the ground where everything is attached to. I don't care about the specifics of the shape of these things and dimensions. However, later on in the course, we're going to be introducing physics into this problem. For example, we specify the speed of uh, rotation of the shaft or the crank, and we're going to find the velocity acceleration of the piston, piston, etc. But here in this activity, all we want to do is to create the assembly and make sure the assembly constraints are created. Let me start with my ground essentially. Now, this is all when you start Catia by default starts a product file, which is exactly what I want, except that this is all these icons and things like that are uh, all over the place. So what I want to do is first of all to clear this thing, okay? And one way is to move things around, and then, but I want to remind you how to reset your toolbar. So you go to Tools, Customize, where is it? Customize, uh, Toolbars, restore all contents. If you accidentally missed anything, restore all position. So they're all going to go back to where they belong. This one I don't need. There's some of these that I'm going to be using very more often than the other ones, but we'll get them out. Now here on the very top right corner, you see two gears. That means you're in the assembly design workbench. Okay, that's where you want to be. Uh, the next thing I'm going to do is immediately save this. So File, Save Management, Save As. Okay, so I'm going to create a folder here called W Activity uh, W2P2, and everything is going to go in there. At this point, all I have is just a product file. That's all. Okay. Next, I'm going to insert my first part, which is going to be, let's say that is uh, the the ground. Okay, so insert new part in there. Okay, and immediately I'm going to change this thing to be. I'm going to change this thing to be ground, and yeah. Okay, so there we are. Okay, notice that I did change it, except that what I wanted to do was to change the name of the part also. So let me do a properties. Okay. Uh, all right. That is right here. That's what I want to do. Ground. I missed this line. So there we are. Let's make it. So double click on the ground and notice that we are in part design. See that? A single gear. And on a vertical plane, I will sketch. Now, the different ways of doing this thing, because this is all now cosmetic. So what I'm going to do is a rectangle here. This is going to play the role of that path where this is going to be traveling on. Okay. And then I'm going to create a little hinge here. That's going to be that thing. Okay. So For example, I can do a profile. All right. And maybe a circle in the middle to make it look nicer. Now, the only thing is that notice that in this drawing, it just happens that uh, well, that's fine. We're going to worry about that thing later on. So we're going to exit and then pad it. All right, I'll do it in the other direction. So this is going to be that hinge here and the ground there. Okay, all the way to the top. If let's change the color of this thing. Properties, graphics. I'm going to change the color to yellow. Yeah, good. Now, the approach that I'm going to take is what is called a top-down approach. In other words, I'm not going to create the parts separately and then bring it in here. It can be done. I'm going to do them all while I'm here in the assembly design. So we go all the way to the top, make sure you're in assembly design right there. And if you ever lost this thing or you were out of this workbench, so you go to start mechanical design, assembly design. Okay, it's the other way. Now I'm going to insert, right click. I can do, sorry, I could do insert, new part, new part, new part. I always say no. It says click yes if you define the origin point of the component uh, as a new, basically, origin point. I don't want to do that. I always use the same uh, uh, origin as the assembly, but that's entirely up to you. So I always say no. So let me change the name of this thing, and I'm going to call it disk. So properties, I'm going to call it crank or the disk. I'll call it disk. Okay, disk, and we're going to make it. How do we make it? I go into part design right there. Double click so that I'm in part design. Now, uh, on that on that plane, that's as I said, this is entirely up to you how you're going to do that. On that plane, which just happens to be, by the way, this vertical plane, doesn't matter. But on that plane, I will sketch. Now I want to draw a circle that size. Okay, so the easiest way for me is to project that circle. Here's a project. I project that circle, and then I say, okay. Notice that it is projected. So the normal view is, when I look at this thing from a normal direction, uh, right here, right there. View, see that view? See? If it helps, I'll put it down here so that we can always find it easier. Right there. And now, notice that the circle has been projected. In fact, if I hide this, there's a circle. Okay, so let me control that to bring it back. I suppose control Z to bring it back. Now the disk is going to be bigger than that. Okay. So let me do the following. Let me do the following. Uh, as a matter of fact, what I decided to do is exit. I'll do the disk in a minute. First of all, I do a pad in the other direction, and I'm going to make it longer so that you can see it better. So maybe 40 there. And on that plane, on that surface, on that gray surface, I will sketch. I will sketch another circle. Right now, it may not be concentric. That's okay. We clean it up like that. Now we make this thing concentric with the other one. So this circle control that circle. Go to constraint in dialog box, constraint definition, concentric, and then we say, okay, now they're concentric. Okay. So exit, pad it. I'll make this thing 5. Look nice. Yep, there it is. And then we say okay. All right. Now, notice that what I do need is an attachment, essentially point here. So how I'm going to do that, I'm going to select this on it. I'll draw a little circle, exit, and I can pad it. Yep. So basically, this is the thing that's going to go into that hole, and the connecting rod is going to get attached there. Okay. So we go all the way to the top. If you click on the floppy here, if you click on the floppy, everything is going to get saved in that folder that I created. And just to confirm, let me go to that folder, which was, I suppose, here, week 2, no, week 2, activities, probably went in there. Well, it's not it. Uh, this is from, must be one of these folders. Nope, not there. I can't remember where I created that folder. Let me see for a second. It must be somewhere here. Let's check. Uh, January 9, maybe? Nope. All right, so let's go. We can't remember where it was. So let me try it. File, save management. Where is it? Oh, this is on the University OneDrive. Okay. So it's okay. I'll just that's fine. Cancel that. So it is on the OneDrive. Yeah. Let me see. Right here. See that? It's in that folder in my OneDrive. Product was the ground. Product was the whole assembly. There was the ground, and there's the disc that I made. All right, good. Now let's go and do the connecting rod. So we go all the way to the top. If you are in assembly, insert, new part. Always say no. Please read it. Make sure you know what it says. Right click properties. I'll make this thing Conrad, and Conrad. Say okay. Double click on it, and now we're going to make. So on that plane, which is convenient for me, I'm going to sketch, project that circle, select it. Yeah, it's right there. You can see that. And the normal view. Now we do the rest of the connecting rod. I really like these elongated holes because it makes my job a lot easier. So let me see if I can find it here. Must be one of these, maybe under. Yeah, it's under this rectangle here. So here's elongated hole. So I'm going to put it right at the center here. Go out. One more. There we are. And over here, I'm going to make a circle because later on, this is going to go into the piston. Exit and pad it. 5 millimeters. I'll make it 4 so you can see it better. There, you can see that the spin is sticking out there. See that? All right, let me change the color of that. Right click properties. I'm going to change the color of this to green. There we are. Okay. Sure. Maybe I make this thing a little bit longer. Let me dimension it and then I'm going to make it longer. Where is the dimension? Right there. I'll make it 300. Maybe I'll make it 350. Okay. 300. Good. Exit. Okay, so we go all the way to the top, all the way to the top, and click on the floppy. All right. And then we're going to make our piston. So insert. Can I? By the way, yeah. I guess you have to go through this either through here or click on the floppy and say basically part. Okay. Either way, I rather do it like that. Insert new part in there. Say no, and there we are. I'm going to call this thing piston or block. I'll call it block. Properties block and block. Okay, you're going to make it. And how am I going to make it? Well, let me make it on that back face of this because this is eventually going to go uh, on that ground. It's up to you whether you want to do it on that face or you can do it actually on that uh, yellow piece on the top of it. Yeah, draw on it. A rectangle. We can clean it up in a minute. So where is the rectangle? Here, rectangle. And I'm going to do it like this. We'll clean it up in a minute. The only thing is that I want to make it look more respectable. So this line, control that line. I want them to be coincident. Good. And this line, control, let me look at the normal direction. Yeah, this line, control that line. Also coincident. Okay, exit. Exit. Add it in the other direction. Maybe a bit more. 40. Okay. So that's going to be my piston or block. Let me change the color here. Right click properties. Change this thing to red, orange. There we are. Now we're not done yet because I want there to be a pin that sticks into that into this uh, hole. Okay. So on that face, I will sketch. Now you can draw a circle or you can project that circle. So let me do that. This projected. The only problem is it did project it. Let me hide this thing for a second. It did project it right there. The only thing is that I cannot move this. I want to put that thing in there, but I cannot move it because this is a projection. What I can do to free it up, right click at the very bottom, isolate. When you isolate it, then it's really not a projection. You can grab the center of it and start moving it, or we can grab this thing and start moving that. Okay, fine. If it was too much, we'll just draw a circle here. Exit, and then pad it. Now, uh, let me make this thing a little bit shorter, or the other way to tell you is to say, okay, you know what? Where is that thing that I hid actually? Where is the, yeah, this cor corner that I hid. So let's bring it back here. You can say, you know what? Uh, just pad it up to, for example, display. It's entirely up to you. I mean, you can make it longer. See that? Longer. You can make it longer. But the way I did it, I said, put it up to display. Excellent. So we go all the way to the top, all the way to the top. Click on the floppy. Everything is saved. Now, all the parts are made. Now we're going to do the assembly constraints. Now notice that they may be in the right spot, but actually if I move them apart, and my favorite way of moving apart is using this fellow move. You can just move things apart. For example, here, let me move this thing in the X direction. There, move this thing in the X direction. Move this thing in the Z direction. There are no constraints. If I say okay, that's it. That's done. So now we're going to put assembly constraints there. So let me take this toolbar out, which is called constraints. First thing we're going to do is to fix. We're going to fix this uh, ground. Okay, here's the anchor. Anchor, fix the ground. Now everything else is going to move but this. So let's put this disk inside of that. Coincidence between the axis of this and the axis of that, and coincidence, there's more to it, coincidence, for example, between this plane, let me hide it, and that plane. Okay, now let me show you what happened. Let me bring this in the front. So I bet if I move this thing, look, I'm going to move this in a very weird way. For example, I rotate it about the Z axis, and maybe I rotate it about X axis. If I say update, or Control U, it's going to go back to where it belongs. That's what constraint means. Okay. Now let's put this connecting rod against that pin. So coincidence between this axis, the axis of this pin, and the axis of this hole, and coincidence between, for example, the back plane of this and the plane of that, and update, it's in the right spot. I bet if I move this thing, move both of these, for example, rotated that and rotated this, and I say update, they're going to go back to where they're supposed to be. Okay, now let's put this block on top of that ground. So coincidence, for example, between this edge and that edge, and coincidence between this plane and that plane, and good. Okay, and finally I put this hole, or this pin inside of that hole. So coincidence between this axis and that axis. Okay, now save everything and let's do some crazy moves. Let's do some crazy move. So manipulate. For example, rotate this about that. Rotate this fellow about Z. Rotate this about X. Oops. Can't be any worse than this. And when I say update, they go back where they belong. Now, the purpose of this course is to create mechanism, and we're going to do that later on in the course. But I want to show you something. If you click on this, move, and check this box. It says, hey, move it, but make sure the constraints are respected. If you click on that and you say, okay, let me rotate about the x-axis. You take the shaft or the crank, I call it the disc, and rotate it. Look, 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 look. Yeah. Let me actually make it easier. Rotate it about this axis so that it's easier to do it. Here, look. We have created a mechanism, but actually it's just assembly constraints right now. Later on, we're going to do this, and we put a speed. We specify the speed of the rotation of the shaft or the disc, and then we're going to figure out, for example, what is the velocity of this block. What is the now? One thing I want to do is let's save business. I really don't like the way I did it, so I go to File, Save Management. I'm going to put this thing on my desktop. Let me see if I can do that. Save as. I'm going to go all the way to all the way to desktop. Now, I don't know whether this is my desktop or the desktop at the university account. That I'm not sure, but let me try that. Uh, must be, yeah. Okay. So let me try it again. I'm at the desktop, new folder. I'm going to call it my second save. I want to be able to find it on my laptop. That's the say okay, okay. And if I say okay, everything is supposed to go again in that folder. Let's see. Ah, there it is. I think I was careless last time. I put the the parts didn't go in there. I don't like it. Let's go back here. Let me try another one. File, file. Oh, save management. Let's try it again. Here's the product. Save as. One level up. Desktop. New folder. My third test. My third save. You go there. Say okay. Propagate directory. You need the propagate directory. Propagate directory. And then okay. Let's go to my third save. There. Remember, this is so critical because on your midterm, your final, you have to provide me with the product and all the files that you have and anything else. And they should go in the folder that you're going to upload. All right. So the second test that I did, I was careless and I didn't say propagate directory. That's why it just gave me the product. The third one, I said propagate directory gave me the product and all the parts that make it. Here's the product, here's the part. The first one, I just happened to put it on the University OneDrive, not on my desktop. All right, folks, good luck.